All right, everybody, we got another Huskies game coming up tomorrow afternoon. This one on the Peacock. I know some of you guys won't have it, so if you don't, you are free to come to my stream tomorrow. No, I'm not going to stream the game. I'm going to stream me watching the game and doing play by play and talking about the game. So if you want any part of that, then stop on by tomorrow afternoon. I will be streaming. I plan on streaming the whole game. If nothing changes, I will definitely be making that part of my plans tomorrow. So hope to see you guys there. We always manage to have fun with it. And this is the first real, well, I don't know. It's not radically different from the Boise State game, I guess. But Michigan State is it's a program of some legitimacy, and they have played fairly well to start this season. So it kind of feels like the first real roadblock of this season for the Huskies, even though I know they're in a very weird state right now, and they may end up not being much of a roadblock at all. So we're going into Michigan State this year to play the Spartans. They've gotten off to a 2-0 start, same as us. We're favored by a couple of touchdowns, which seems pretty reasonable to me, but right now the conversation around the Michigan State Spartans really doesn't have a lot to do with football. It has to do with their head coach, Tucker, Mel Tucker, I believe is his name. He's out. They got him out because of the sexual assault charges, I believe, something like that anyway. But he's gone. He's gone as of a few days ago, and they've got an interim guy in there now. It is a program that is in a little bit of disarray. And I think that more than anything has influenced the line. It's moved a few points in Washington's direction. And I think there's just some belief that because they had to dump their coach on such short notice and they're just pushing another guy out there, that they're not going to play to their full potential this week and they're not going to be able to handle a team like Washington. So maybe it won't be the first real test. Maybe they won't be any different than Boise State was. Possibly. It's hard to know because it does seem like they've got a pretty good roster of players. And through two games at least, they have played fairly well. Now, both of their games were against really weak competition, but you can say the exact same thing about Washington. But right now, obviously, in Michigan State, the focus, hard to believe it's on football. There's some other stuff going on there. It's unfortunate. It's not something you want to have to deal with in your program, but it does happen in college football every now and then. They've taken care of it the best that they can, but I don't believe the effects are just going to fade into obscurity because they ended up firing him and terminating his contract. So we got that. But to talk about Michigan State as a team, they're off to a good start. And the thing that stands out to me about their first two games is how balanced they were, more so than the Huskies. In both games, they have thrown the ball efficiently. Kim's been a really solid quarterback for them. He's not a Heisman contender, but he's been very solid. They've run the ball successfully. They got almost 150 yards rushing in their first two games each. They've had standout receivers. Their defense has been lights out. They've allowed an average of 206 yards per game. They've been great against the pass. They've been effective against the run. It has been a team that is really kind of controlling things on every level. Their offense is balanced, their defense is stout, and both of these games, I know the Central Michigan game was a little bit close at one point, and there was certainly a little bit of priming the pump that it took for them to get going. But hey, that happened to Washington too in their first game. So I don't believe that that's necessarily indicative of them being a weak opponent. So as a football team, as far as football goes, this is a pretty legitimate squad. Now, they're not ranked. You wouldn't expect them to beat Washington. Washington's a heavy favorite in this game for a reason. But they're more balanced than us. They so far look like they have a better defense than us. We've given up almost twice as many yards as they have. And it's just going to have to be one of those things where we have to be aware as Huskies fans. Going into this game, this could be the wake-up call. If the Huskies are actually not that good this year, if they feasted on two really bad teams week one, and they're actually just a 6, 7, 8 win team this year. This is the game where you kind of find out, because you're playing a team that isn't going to just roll over with a bunch of one-star recruits. You're playing a team that is not necessarily just going to get overpowered and overwhelmed by you because you have better athletes and better prospects and better recruiting. This is a team that if you give them the opportunity to go win a game, they can probably do it. Now, that's obviously not talking at all about the coaching situation, which is a mess, and that has derailed things just a little bit. And maybe Michigan State is not really in a state where they, no pun intended there, to where they could even take advantage of Washington being overrated. But roster-wise, football-wise, they have looked really solid through 2 games. And I just want all the Huskies fans out there to be aware of the fact that I don't think this team should be taken lightly. And if we are frauds, we're going to find out here. That's how I would put it. This is going to be a meaningful litmus test. Beating up on teams like Tulsa and Boise State, even though we won those games by large margins, that doesn't necessarily mean you're good. You could still be an overrated, overhyped team and beat up on those teams. This is where you start to find out. If we can blow out Michigan State the way we did last year, which was not a game where I expected to win in a blowout, I think that's indicative of us having a team that could actually compete for the Pac-12, that could actually make the playoff. But I want to see something better than what I've seen the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks were fine. I think we played okay, solid football. In some areas, we were even better than I thought. But are we going to figure out this running game? Are we going to figure out how to run the ball? Right now, our running game is so unreliable. It's really hard for me to believe that we're not going to lose a game we should have won because we can't run the ball at some point this year. And I want to see some pass rush. This Michigan State team, they have the quarterback who can throw the ball around a little bit. And if we score the way we should, and even if we can't run the ball, I'm sure we're going to score a lot of points in this game, we're going to force Michigan State to throw the ball. So we got to get pass rush. I haven't seen a lot of that the first 2 weeks. We've got a nice edge combo, and the one thing that could hold us up here is the injuries. But my understanding is that most of the guys who are injured, guys like Asa Turner and ZTF, expected to be back for this game. If they're not back for this game, they're going to be back for the next game. None of them got severely injured. But we need to start seeing some pass rush. We've got ZTF and Braylon Trice, and we can't get any pass rush so far this year. So if we go through this game and we force MSU to throw the ball a lot and we're still not getting to Kim, then that's going to make me wonder about this edge room. That's going to make me wonder about the defensive philosophy, because that is the strength of your defense. It's not the secondary, even though it's improved. It's not, I mean, the linebackers are good, but it's not even really the linebackers. It's what you're getting off the edge from your rushers, supposedly. And we're going to have to get that warmed up in time for some of these tougher games. Like, I know you're not going to sack Caleb Williams. I know you're not going to sack Bo Nix. Those guys, really hard to bring down. But there are going to be games against not great, but really good teams where you need to get some pressure on the quarterback. So, got to get that going. And that's the main stuff I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Hope to see you guys in stream tomorrow, 2 p.m. start time on Peacock. I should be streaming the whole game. We should have a lot of fun. I hope to see you guys later on. Should be some more stuff coming out later today as well. Go Hawks, and let's roll to 3-0 and get ready for the Pac-12 schedule.